Welcome to the afternoon session, the latter part of the opening days event to this Forssa Theatre. My name is Jenni Muuberg. I come from Patents from Agency, which is the biggest patent design service provider in the Nordics. Thank you very much, Kati and her team, the Museum of Forssa, for organizing the Forssa Textile Week. There is plenty of superb events spread around the city. And the event here in the museum this afternoon is going to be about the work of a designer in the context of local small-scale production. We have 3 keynote speakers that tell about their experiences and viewpoints in this topic. The first person on stage has a long and various history in one of the Finnish major textile companies, Marimekko. He's been working there since 1980s for 35 years about, and the longest position being at the artwork studio as its manager. He's been taking care of the Marimekko's designs to be manufactured properly, and in the recent years he's been passing this information also to the following generations as a teacher lecturer in Aalto University. His topic today is going to be where the design ends and production begins. Please let's give applause to the owner of Seriösi, Mr. Petri Jusli.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to see that you are so many here today, and thanks for having me, Jenni and Kati. My point of view is a bit special to these subjects because I've indeed been in the middle of production and design all my life. I started from the factory floor actually, and I'm totally self-taught, no academic background. And these 2 cultures of design and production there are big differences. I think design people are more creative mindset and production people are very straightforward engineering types that don't want to have any surprises in anything, and everything must be streamlined and standardized. Like previous presenters here, Karin at least mentioned, usually the cooperation, if we have outsourced production overseas or somewhere far away, it's being communicated by the buyers of the design house and the sales team of the production company. In printed fabrics, we talk about commission printers. They are in Portugal, Italy, Turkey, Pakistan, wherever. And this is the communication. I mean, buyers and sellers, don't get me wrong, they are highly professionals and they can handle pricing, logistic schedules. They can handle a lot about design and production also. But still, the design concept is not translated directly to the production. And this is something that I think I have some ideas. And people may have forgotten the old days when, like the Finlayson guys told that the production was in Finland, it was a bit different. So I want to show you a small video clip. This is Steve Jobs, late Steve Jobs from Apple, saying things that I think I completely agree.
It's the disease of thinking that a really great idea is 90% of the work. And that if you just tell all these other people, here's this great idea, then of course they can go off and make it happen. And the problem with that is that there's just a tremendous amount of craftsmanship in between a great idea and a great product. And as you evolve that great idea, it changes and grows. It never comes out like it starts because you learn a lot more as you get into the subtleties of it. And you also find there's tremendous trade-offs that you have to make. I mean, there are just certain things you can't make electrons do. There are certain things you can't make plastic do or glass do. And as you get in, or factories do, or robots do. And as you get into all these things, designing a product is keeping 5,000 things in your brain, these concepts, and fitting them all together in kind of continuing to push to fit them together in new and different ways to get what you want. And every day you discover something new that is a new problem or a new opportunity to fit these things together a little differently. And it's that process that is the magic.
That's exactly what I also think, and I claim that I have been in this magical area for quite a long time. This is the magical area, and I said I have been there, and but it's not crowded there. There are not many people, I must say, and don't be offended. This is a disclaimer for all of you. Don't be offended of anything I say, but there are not too many designers in that magical area either, because production is overseas probably or somewhere else, and of the two different cultures. But the best of the best of the best designers are there, and they are not many, maybe 5 or 100 or so, and they are the biggest names also. So it's about pushing boundaries of the design process into the production. You could say this is product development, but it's more concrete, I think. It's collaboration, talking every day, meeting people and creating personal relationships with production people and designers. I'm going to prove with 3 different things that what can happen in local production. Serendipity is a fine English word for something that you unintendedly find something. You can call it a happy accident if you don't remember that difficult word. It's a big game changer in not only design but also science. For instance, penicillin was invented by this way, by an accident in the laboratory. This is, of course, Timo Sarpaneva, and he's holding a piece of paper which was printed in a paper printing mill, and the machine went broken and he got these funny stripes. And he went to Tampella, Lapiniemi factories in Tampere, and started to collaborate with them in goal to make printed fabric like that. And there's a great video about this in Vimeo, made by Henrietta Lehtonen. It's called Kone Sivellin Machine Brush. You can find it in Vimeo. And all the old craftsmen of Tampella are interviewed there, old men helping Sarpaneva to create this machine. And It's known as ambient, of course, one of the classic fabrics of Finnish design. Although it's not actually a printed fabric because it's a dyeing machine they used, but they named it printed fabric because the price was a bit higher. Then designers turning technical limitations into new products or new possibilities. I had many bosses during the years, and all my bosses have introduced me to a new designer saying, "This is Petri, he's going to tell you about the limitations." And I immediately corrected them that no, I'm here to tell you about the possibilities. And this is part of the culture, I think, in the industry. A good example is Marimekko designers in 50s and 60s when they created a whole new design language where they utilized the limitation and turned it upside down and turned them into possibilities, because the adjusting of the screens by hand is very difficult. You can't make the registration very accurate. But the designers started to design prints like that, where the alignment is very loose, and also use huge overlappings in between the colors. Of course, this happened in many other companies too, but I think Marimekko designers really mastered it, like Wokko, Eskolin Nurmestniemi, Maija Isola, Anni Karimala, Katsui Saka, and Kaarina Kellomäki, who's here also. And for instance, this is Maija Isola's design, Max and Moritz. It's a different colorway, but you can see the idea. Those fruits are deliberately a little bit offset from the tree. And thousands of color combinations tested by hand screens, creating overlappings. With 2 screens, you can create 3 colors, very economical also. This is some of Katsui Wakisaka's tests. I think also this whole thing is a great example of how local production can turn the designs even better than they would never be. When I was a young man in Marimekko in the 1980s, this was before we got computers into design department. There was a dark room and a reprographic camera, which we used in the dark room. And I found a sentence by Armi Ratti, I still remember it, in Finnish. Luovan ajattelun irrottaminen totunnaisesta kaavasta edellyttää mahdottomuuden kieltämistä ja tekniikan kehittämistä hulluimpienkin ideoiden toteuttamiseen. That's my own translation. I'm not sure if it's accurate, but I had this as a Haustafel, as the Germans say, like wisdom on the wall, just to keep my mind set on the tasks. When I started in Marimekko, this was, I don't take any credit for this, but I just started then. I think I made the screens, the first screens. I was 23 years old then. And if I show this to any colleague of mine anywhere in the world, they don't understand how it's been done. This is design Koski by Fujiwa Ishimoto. Fujiwa Ishimoto was an example of a designer who spent very much time in the production, learning about the machines, asking questions, and collaborating with us. there's two sets of screens here. It's been printed twice. First one repeat with 4 colors, 4 screens, then rolled up and back to the machine and printed again with a different repeat. And the combination is, there's no repeat, it's infinite. Theoretically, it's something like 60 kilometers, but it doesn't have any relevance because you will never find that kind of piece. If you find the fabric in vintage stores, you will never find exactly like this piece. So this is an extreme example of collaborating with production. It could never happen in outsourced production, never. I'm just positive. Because the sellers of the production team, they will never go into something so dark area where you don't know what's going to happen and is it possible, and the schedules are going wrong and everything, the prices. So this is Sweden theme week, also Sweden. So this is one of my favorite designers also who go into that magical area, which is Astrid Sylvan, a contemporary artist actually. And my advice to design students and young designers who are interested in what I'm speaking about is that you have to inspire, and this goes vice versa, of course, the production people can learn this also, to inspire the collaborator with your personality, with your work, and challenge, because people like challenges, believe me or not. The guys in the factory, men and women, they like challenges if they are challenged. Not the directors. The directors of the factory maybe don't like it so much. Okay, am I already 1 minute? Oh my God. And trust and respect other people's professionality. This is very important. This is the case of Astrid's fabric we printed. Totally impossible color separation, but I remembered deny the impossible. This is a story about Maya Isola, but we don't have time for it. I'll tell it to you later. She is a good example also. So in Serious, I have a booth at the workers' house. So please visit the booth. I have finished designers and finished production only so far. It's not about nationality. I'm not about Finnish. It doesn't have to be Finnish. It can be Swedish or Estonian. But local is the key, I think. Professor Heikki Arvola is my designer too. I'm glad we worked in the 80s already. So I invented this new slogan for my company, The Magic, because I think I just popped into that Steve Jobs video like when I was preparing the talk. So but I think look it up in the YouTube. It's really cool. So thank you. I'm sorry, Jenny.
Yes. Our next speaker is coming from Malmö, Sweden. She says that printing is her passion. She's going to tell about the collective workshops that exist around Sweden. Their artists can print, dye, weave, make graphics or sculptures or new media. Please let's give applause for the Textiltruck Malmö representative, Josbeth Werkmester.
So my name is Josabeth Werkmester. I'm based in Malmö. And I work mostly as textile artist, but also do more small editions and one-of-a-kind design. So these are pictures from my artwork that has been made in our collective workshop. And I'm also here representing Nordic Textile Art, who is a partner in this Forssa Textile Week. And last year we had a Nordic Textile meeting in Tampere, Kokokirjo. So we went to Forssa and had a fantastic inspiration day here. I picked pictures just with the Finnish designers and artists. So I'm representing Textiltryck Malmö. And Textiltryck means textile printing. And collective workshops means it's KKV, Konstnärernas kollektivverkstad, the artist collective workshops. And we have many of them in Sweden. So there is an organization called KKV Riks, where you can find all the collaborations and the collective workshops. And they are all artist run. And so on this map you can see where they are in Sweden. So some facts and background. The first collective workshop was established in Stockholm, 1969. And then there were many workshops. So that's a kind of good thing still left from the 70s, that you find it was better to do things together than on your own. So that's when they started. And you have it because you want to have workspaces and technical equipments for art, craft and design. And in Sweden we have about 30 workshops. And each workshop has its own organization and specific focus. And it's not a company itself. So you are, when you're working there, you have your own business. So it's just that you book a space and then you work there. Approximately it's 10 having textiles, equipment for textiles. Printing, dyeing, weaving and tufting. And you need to be a member to access the workshop. In some you can also work as a guest, and you don't have to be from Sweden or live in Sweden. You can be, for example, from Finland, and many of them you can be a member even if you don't live close. So you can be there if you go there and just work for special time. So the workshop I work is Textiltryck Malmö in the south of Sweden. And in Malmö we have actually 5 different workshops. Most in the cities there are all departments together, but we have 5 different. And the newest one is Malmö Väv, Malmö Weaving. So that one started just 2 years ago. So in our workshop we have long printing tables. You have equipments for dyeing, and we have a small gallery, and whatever you need to print. And we are about 50 members. And so we have a booking system that you use when you want to work there. And some are quite new. I think the youngest is about 23 maybe, and the oldest one, she's 95. And I have been in the board and the head of it for many years when I started in 1990. But for the last 12 years, it's at the moment Karin Olo Lindgård that you heard before. And also one board member here is Matilda, who is the partner of Karin in the company as well. And the financing of the workshop is with money from the government, from the region, and from the city. And you also pay when you are there working. And I think it's the government and the politicians that decide about culture money. About 20 years ago, they wanted to close down every workshops, but then they realized where to do the art and design. So it's still going on. And for you to have a more feeling and a look into our workshop, I have a film that we made a few years ago when we participated in Southern Sweden Design Days. It was during the pandemic, so we had an exhibition, but we also made this film. And the title of that exhibition was Printed Meters, tryckta meter. So this is a film about that exhibition and also about our workshop.
Textiltryck Malmö is an artist-run collective workshop located in a yellow townhouse in the centre of Malmö. Here, artists, designers and artisans share a workshop, a gallery and their experience. Our members handprint everything from unique monumental works to product series and small editions. The workshop is professionally equipped with several long printing tables, a dyeing machine, a fixing oven and so on. But our most important asset is the accumulated knowledge that our members bring and share with each other. Tryckta meter, printed meters, is a textile installation, a landscape of hand-printed fabrics designed by 12 of the workshop members. The installation highlights the craft's unique expression and possibilities, while at the same time questioning the contemporary attitude towards textiles as a fast and cheap product with a short lifespan. It is easy to be fooled by cheap prices for textiles from interior design department stores. And it can be difficult as a consumer to understand the difference between locally produced, long-term sustainable craftsmanship and mass-produced textiles with an enormous environmental impact. To achieve a sustainable society, we need to change our consumption patterns, and consumers need to learn to value and choose slow design over rapidly changing trends. The installation, Tryckta meter, makes a case for genuine craftsmanship that encourages well-considered choices of products that will last a long time. It is also a gesture against mass production, where fabrics are produced under poor conditions with an enormous environmental impact. We simply want to encourage a sustainable approach to textiles.
This is my last slide. I did some research on what is like at the printing workshops in Sweden, in the other ones, not only about ours in Malmö. If there were any designers who had hand printed the fabric as a business and a textile production. And the answer I got was that most artists and designers work more like me, to an exhibition with public commissions or temporary smaller editions of textile products. And I just want to pick some who work with hand-printed fabrics by the meters at collective workshops, and that's the duo designer Lans Varghans. They are working in Malmö, and two from Stockholm, Ann-Charlotte Ridderstolpe and Kiki Friis. So that's not so many working on a small production with hand-printed textiles, but there are. But what you can say is, to do professional, local produced art and design, you need somewhere to do it.
Thank you very much, Josebeth. It's good to hear this kind of experiences from Sweden, and especially these little bit great times here in Finland regarding the culture and making of the culture. So the final speaker for this afternoon or today is coming from Stuttgart, Germany. She is a textile designer, but she uses textile in a little bit not so conventional way. According to her, the textile has also other roles than just protect us or please visually. She has a very innovative approach on textiles. So let's give applause to textile artist Anna Aspholm-Flick. Nanna Aspholm-Flick. Talking about textile artists as a social connector.
Dear textile enthusiasts, fellow speakers, students maybe, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thrilled to be here to want to begin with commending first Kati and her team for initiating and hosting this wonderful event. I feel honored to be included in today's program, as well as the Fiber Arts exhibition at the studio for the upcoming 4 days. The Forssa Textile Week event brochure announced my topic, the textile artist as a social connector. In my 11 slides, I will walk you through a recent textile project in Germany that was a novelty to me. My work within the field of textiles constantly takes new shape. No year resembles another. I am a studio owner, a self-employed textile maker, an agent, or I sometimes call myself a translator, textile translator, in Stuttgart, Germany, who lives from research grants, commissions, teaching assignments, sales of fiber arts, museum collaborations, and new proposals like the one I will now describe. The challenging environment in a so-called, let's see, now you see it, it's the word, it's actually Brennpunktschule, in a school on fire, is that the children are utterly heterogeneous. They stem from all over the world, have varying culture backgrounds, and have often experienced hardship while fleeing from their home country and now seeking safety and a new beginning in Germany. School provides stability, though often language skills are missing. In the state of Baden-Württemberg, a technology-driven state that is home to Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Bosch, Würth, etc., unfortunately, almost no textile education takes place in schools. Only now digitalization is introduced into schools. We are far behind the Nordic countries as regards digital developments. The situation with refugees is a serious one. On my slide, oh my God, can you actually read it? Oh, it's all taking all kinds of different shapes. My lines are all off. Well, then I can just explain to you because well, that's very strange. The situation with the refugees is a serious one. On my slide, just to give some numbers, I mentioned the daily number of refugee registrations to be only 2,000 nowadays. This means 2015, when the problem started, this number was much, much larger. Baden-Württemberg, so the state where Stuttgart is the capital, it's a strong industry base and it attracts many, many foreigners who look for safety and refuge. In the first half 2024, some 25,000, so just the first half of this year, 25,000 asylum seekers were registered. But back to the project and my background. I have learned, especially in foreign settings, to read cues in my surroundings. Especially textile connections have provided a sense of familiarity and connection. The textile connotations. Most of my life has been spent abroad. I navigate in cultural environments by viewing and recognizing textiles, which to me in many ways communicate a universal language. It needs no words. Across cultures, we share, possibly invisibly and unconsciously, commonalities attached to textiles. Our feelings are involved and activated thanks to the haptic qualities of materials and surfaces. Our tactile sense, the feeling of touch, has to do with neuronal, so the brain, neuronal, synapses. I call it the fingers to the brain effect. It has little to do with knowledge. It is inherent in all of us without consideration of national borders and country limits. Fingers touching soft unspun wool after having held coarse and stiff sisal rope in the hand send differing messages to the brain. My carte blanche as regarded the concept for the school project in the year 2023-24 meant that I had the full trust of the school head. In the end, at hand, I had 8-year-olds of very diverse backgrounds with varying knowledge of German. Their hands were allowed to be activated in a textile kind of way. Play with an exploration of weekly changing materials consisting of threads, yarns, fabric fibers, ribbons, cut-out clothes, and all kinds of dead stock and donations were resources that I used. Just one wish was forwarded by the headmaster of the Eugen Bolz Elementary School. If possible, tie in or consider the partner school in Bukulula, Uganda, in the activities. Maybe, she said, the project could continue in the African school if the textile art making gives joy and creativity and provides for good play. Let me wind back and now show you in pictures the project, how the project involved. The starting point, well, you already see it, the school, and my storage, well, actually it's here. The storage here with the yellow yarns. The school is in the middle, and my scraps, and on the right-hand corner, you can't really distinguish it, but those were then scraps that we received from Uganda with the African textile prints. They were, we received, that was for the Ugandan tailors, considered pure waste, the African printed stuff. And in class, we talked often about the patterns and the shapes, the colors, the materials, and everything that basically had to do with the feeling of the fingers, but also what the eye basically takes into consideration. And here again, I mean, you already saw that slide, sorry, are the material tables that change every Thursday textile session. On the right, you see the soft sculptures that basically we created every Thursday. We made small sculptures of the materials that I provided. And in this picture, you actually see the prototype, the very mother sculpture that brought me into the whole project for myself, because in the COVID quarantine, I was myself stuck in front of the computer because all the projects were canceled. So I was stuck in front of the computer, taking part in different kinds of team meetings and digital programs. And my fingers, for my own safety and my feeling of some kind of contentment, actually needed to be activated. So in front of my computer, hidden from the viewers, I was creating these kinds of yarn, what I called yarn sculptures. And those were kind of the basis for then the children. The textile project, originally planned for only third graders, some 75 children, was opened up after Christmas break to include more children. A Textile Teachers Association, now the slide is okay, the Textile Teachers Association magazine covered the story and provided the idea to other teachers also, especially in school settings where language is still like an important part of, the lacking common language is the part missing for the normal kind of teacher, for the normal kind of teaching. In April, the school, through my actually active participation, invited the children's parents and family members to also come and join us at the school. An open podium took place. It turned out to be a fun event with a lot of togetherness, although, and we ran out of actually textile material because the teachers had warned me that usually family members do not participate or show up at get-togethers at all at the school. And the opposite was true. And the children taught us, so we were turning tables basically in the project. I was no longer the head, but the children were allowed to teach their peers and their siblings and the parents, and the learning was taking place from the other side because, of course, they had actually beautifully already learned it. Coincidentally, also in April, a competition called Glücksmomente called our attention. Glücksmomente means moments of joy. And it's the official State Youth Association for Culture Activities that published it online. It was aimed at school projects and stated as prerequisite the involvement of an artist from outside the school. It fit us perfectly. The deadline was late last month. And yes, we applied. Here are some more pictures of the stages of the process, especially time-consuming. At the end was the putting the different people the different pieces, the tightening it all up and basically collecting the loose ends. And this is what it then looked like at the end. And here is the final product. You can see the outcome of one school year's activity. Our Moments of Joy sculpture grows in our hands, measures almost 2 meters in height, has a width of about 1.2 meters, and is 50 centimeters deep. It is, depending on how one wants to display it, moldable. Probably it ends up in a glass case at the school. Fire safety rules makes the hanging of it in the school hallway impossible. So now please keep your fingers crossed that we get noticed in the competition. And I thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nina, for this presentation, and lovely to hear how versatile material textile is. I would like to ask now the speakers of this session to sit down on stage for the panel discussion. Thank you very much for your presentations, first of all. So I would like to point out that also audience has the possibility to ask questions. I see a little bit bad from here, but raise up your hand in a big manner if you have a question. But I'll begin. I'd like to start perhaps with you, Sabet. You have the microphone there. So how would you describe that? What are the key benefits of the Konstnärernas kollektivverkstad for its members?
The key benefits, well, yes, the biggest key is that it exists, that you have somewhere to do your art and design, because it's so difficult to build up a workshop like that on your own. So that's the main thing. But then also it's good to have colleagues, so someone that you meet colleagues when you work, so you don't work alone, and making projects together, and also to focus to show other people that textile is everything.
Thank you. How about Petri? As a film, so what would you say? What is needed for the local production to bloom?
That's a big question.
It is.
And one thing came to my mind when I drove here to Forssa yesterday, and I remember visiting Finnation factory in the late 80s, maybe 88 or 89, first time. Because in Marinekko, Finnation, Manso factories, we all collaborated together. If we ran out of some chemical, we could call Nalisa that could set us up some screen making chemical, for instance. So, and one time I drove with a Marimekko Toyota van here with a big Marimekko logo on the side to get the screen from Finnation screen makers, because they make a little bit wider screws than us. And this kind of collaboration, I think that's one thing that could be brought to display with the small producers. And are now using a lot of Bridgescopia in Aito, for instance, and they have a network of sewing possibilities, for instance, And I think small business owners like I would be really happy if there's a ready-made network of production in Finland, Sweden, Estonia that you could easily utilize. And that's something maybe that could be, I don't know how, but to build up those networks more effectively.
Together we are stronger.
Yeah.
Yes. Good. How about Nanna? I start from you. This is perhaps a question for all of you, but how do you feel? Is there a pressure for commercializing the art and design? Like, do you feel the pressure of money that you should you should make money out of the art, but you want to keep it art as your scale?
And yeah. That's a very relevant question that I actually do often reflect on. I'm sometimes very uncompromising, and I try to, it has to do with a certain kind of attitude that one actually develops for oneself, where you then kind of make your limits, or you have your basically your square or your bubble or whatever. And what I tell also people is that often the value is in that what's already produced. So I, in fact, tell them that there is very much value in the textiles that exist. So you have to add more value to it, which is actually a completely normal thing here in the Nordic countries. But when we're talking about, I'm in the very southern part of Germany, which means Switzerland, Austria, France is close by, then you already come to very different thinking about it. Everything what's dead stock, it's actually not really valuable. And so telling the stories is where you have to really pay attention to how you tell your story, that you don't kind of, what the Germans say, fall in the back throat, in the wrong throat, meaning kind of maybe provoke them, irritate them. So that is actually the translating, what I was talking about. Also, I often have to translate cultural ideas or values or cultural traditions.
How about you, Petri, or Elisabeth?
Feel the pressure?
Feel the pressure?
I do, because I have a small business. I feel lots of pressure because I want to, my idea is, like I presented here, to make everything really well, and so that the designer's ideas are translated in a very good manner to the product. But it's sometimes difficult to explain the customer about the price and what's so good about this, and because you can find something with just €5, and I said it with €30. So it's just lots of pressure in this way. But I think we have to find a niche market, and the problem with niche markets is that Finland is a really small country for niche stuff. So you want to have a global online store, because I think the stuff that I have is all around the world. There are some people who are willing to pay the price, because if I explain why it's so good. But branding and finding the right customers, that's continuous challenge. So.
Yeah, something to add, Elisabeth?
Well, yes, I think, like you said, it's very important for us who's doing this to teach people that if it has, you have to pay more if it's handmade, hand printed one. It's can't be the same price as used in thousands of meters. So and that it's difficult for some to understand. So I think we have a teaching vision.
Yeah, yeah. This in the early 60s, Moriwaki had this kind of attitude that they would teach people about how to dress up and what's the value of hand printed fabric. Now we are at the same point again, I think.
Basically awareness. I mean, that's the teaching, that's the receiving end is the awareness that really needs, but it's happening. And we probably are maybe impatient regarding that. We just have to be more patient. But it's happening, and telling the storytelling all the time, and also receiving the people where they are, not like top down is always right.
Yeah, that's
top down is always right.
Yes. And not so competing with all the information. Oh, no.
So you believe that it's possible to combine the craftsmanship and sustainable production in a commercially viable way? Yes.
It's possible. I think I believe in. So far, I believe in it. I still try to do it. So, but I think networks would be great in this also to have some kind of network with small producers and small business owners and design companies, sustainable companies in Finland and Sweden. Good to have some kind of mutual marketing or branding force.
Yeah, something to add? Yes.
Don't know if I can add anything about the commercial ways, because I'm not good at it. But what I can see is that it's a big interest now in craftsmanship, that doing things by hand and build. So I think maybe it's the time is. It's time now to understand more about textiles and producing craftsmanship and how to do it.
People understand since they have their own experiences as well. Yes. Nonna, would you still, as a final question perhaps, if I don't see any waving hands there. Oh, there is one question. Please, go ahead. I bring you the microphone.
So I have a question to Josep. So if there are 30 workshops, so in Sweden, what about financing? You said that get some support from government, with local government. Is something that you have to apply every year?
You have to apply every year.
Yes.
And you will get some every year.
So what the members have to pay to the pay for the hour is to use the facility.
Yes, so if you are there working, you pay yearly membership fee, which is it's we try to keep it as low as possible, so it's possible to work there. So you pay for a year, and then you pay when they're working.
Thank you. And one question for Betty. So to our students, you said that when you want to sell your designs, don't approach the companies, but keep your Instagram profile professional. Is it still the case?
I couldn't. Maybe you should ask Finnish and non-support more than the difference.
Please do approach the companies. Such we don't have time to go to the Instagram pages and see all the designers' pages. So please do approach. We appreciate that. But
You can slide the DM, so those we see.
Yeah, at some point we got too many approaches, so we couldn't handle it.
okay.
1 minute, one question for Anna. Can you still wrap up? What's the value of textiles?
No, I can't, because it's in the mind of the asker. I mean, the person posing the question, and in the head of the answers. So it all depends what we were discussing earlier, your level of awareness and experience, understanding of the world, your attitude to life. It's basically impossible to answer. So it all depends on the person who answers and the one that questions is posed the question.
Thank you very much. Thank you.